All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's webinar, man. Real estate agents, excited you are here with us today on our Thursday webinar on 5 seller listing strategies going into the spring market. It's perfect timing. Well, it doesn't matter what market you're going into. It's always perfect timing to get listings. Always perfect timing to get listings. That's where we're going to start today. So we're going to go into the 5 seller listing strategies today, and I'm going to share these strategies with you. And my goal is to also answer questions. If you have questions at the end, and feel free as we're going through, feel free in the chat. You can drop in the chat if you're interested. Right now, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube. I'm just looking at my links. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. So if you're a real estate agent, congratulations. If you know some other real estate agents, invite them in. And we're going to share some great listing strategies with you today. So I'm excited for that. All right. So first all, I start every presentation here, which is my quote from Zig Ziglar. It says, when you help enough people get what they want, you can have whatever you want. And I live by that. I believe that is how we all should live. And it really comes down to service. And what I've noticed is I've always been a salesperson my whole life. I've been a grinder, but and I've always done decent. But I'll tell you what, when I became a giver and when I became about really helping people and solving people's problems, that's when things really started to get to the next level for me and to blow up for me. So I just heard that and I stuck with it. A little bit about me: 35 years in outbound sales. Now, did you notice I don't just say 35 years in sales? 35. I didn't say 35 years in sales. 35 years in outbound sales, meaning I am reaching out. I am being proactive. Some people call themselves salespeople, but they're not necessarily salespeople. A lot of times they're just order takers. People call in and they take orders. I've done that a couple of times, which is not a bad deal, I guess. It's nice, but I've always been on the other side of the trench where I've been making the calls, reaching out, finding people, tracking them down, following up, all that good stuff. I spent 19 years in the real estate industry. 17 of those 19 years were with Keller Williams Realty. I say this all the time. I grew up in their system, tremendous system. I would encourage everybody, if you're in the real estate space, make sure you check out Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I spent my last 2.5 years with coaching, consulting. Did that with Grant Cardone's company, 10X. It's called Cardone University, and also the Brand Success that publishes a magazine. I am also one of their certified coaches. One Thing Trainer, book The One Thing. And also I spent time with the Dale Carnegie Association years ago, learning how to speak in public. And I'm the author of 2 books, the Sales Playbook, as well as my other little yellow book, which is How to Earn Even More Money Working Fewer Hours in Real Estate. And maybe most important of everything, I am a father. I shouldn't say maybe, definitely. Most important, I'm a father of 3 amazing daughters, a husband to my excellent wife, V. I've got 3 grandchildren now. Holy cow, I'm getting older. And I have my podcast that is called Path to Mastery. We have over 375 episodes now. So podcast is growing. We've had great guests, Gary V, Mel Robbins, many great people like that. People ask, well, David, how did you get into real estate? Well, one day my daughter, Jacqueline, came home and said, Dad, you should get your real estate license. And I said, that doesn't really make sense, but whatever. The next morning I woke up, it was on my mind. 5 months later, I had my real estate license. I joined a team, the Steve Clements team. And my first day in the office, first day, they gave me a script. They gave me index cards, 100 index cards. And they told me to bring all the newspapers with me. I brought all the local real estate sections from the newspapers. And I just remember, I showed up. They said, we want you to bring all the newspaper sections, index cards. And I had no idea what what that had to do with real estate. But anyway, I did what they said. I showed up. I had the real estate newspaper, the real estate sections, and what we did is we cut out. I don't know if anybody can remember this, but they used to be like for sale by owners would advertise in the newspaper. So we would cut out the little square ads, and then we would tape them to the top of index cards, just like this, like you have an index card. And that was our filing system back then. And then Steve gave us all a script like this, and then we literally just got on the phones and started making calls. Well, we role played first for maybe 10 minutes with the people that were there, and then we got on the phones and started making calls. And I just remember I kept getting hung up on. I would call the next person. I would use their super aggressive script, which I remember the script perfectly. Still, it was, when are you going to hire the right agent for the job to sell your home? And that was the script. I'm not kidding. That was the script. And sometimes it worked. A lot of times people would be like, yeah, listen, I don't need an agent. I'm all set. So like literally I'm like got hung up on like 3 times. And then on my 4th call, I said, you know what? I'm going to try my own script. I said, I'm going to go off script a little bit. And so I used the script that I had been using from publishing before. And I said, hey, my name's David. I just got my real estate license. I don't even know why I said I just got my real estate license. I probably shouldn't even said that, but I did. I said, hey, I'm just wondering, would you be open to using a real estate agent to sell your home? And the person said, maybe. And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I started stuttering, and Steve grabbed the phone out of my hand, and we closed our first appointment. We went on the appointment, and at the end of the appointment, Steve did not take the listing. It was tough. We left without the listing, and I followed up with the lady. She ghosted me. Was never able to connect with her again, and that's where we started. 5 months later, after a lot more of that, I decided that there had to be a better way to do things. I left the team, and I don't want to say anything negative about the team. I do appreciate the fact that I started on the team. Why? Because the team taught me to go after seller listings, number 1, and second, they taught me to go after motivated seller listings, number 2. So I got that education. Their process wasn't the greatest, but they still taught me to focus on the right things, listings and motivated listings. So what I did was I left the team and I started building my own system. So I took the Steve's system, of the, integrated index cards, right, and bad scripts to a process of, having great questions, calling and asking questions, like I shared with you. Having a system, a CRM. We actually bought a dialing system back then. I think back then we were using RedX. I mean, now we use Vulcan 7, we use Espresso Agent, we use different systems now. But I went from using the newspaper, right, cutting out ads, to buying a system that emails me the leads every day. I went from aggressive scripts, when are you going to hire the right agent to sell your house, to asking great questions, connecting with people, and then following up. And then over time, taking listings. And then I went from people hanging up on me and telling me to take them off their list, being discouraged, to people actually calling me back and saying, David, I'd be interested in learning more about what you do. So what I'm going to do is the next 25 minutes, I'm going to teach you exactly what I did to do that. All right. I want to let you know that. And here's the other thing I want to let you know is starting on the 15th, starting Monday, as a matter of fact, next Monday, we have a challenge, and I'm going to get you some information at the end about the challenge. I'm going to get you some information in the end about the challenge. So I just want to let you know now that I'm going to get you some information on that. So don't leave. Don't oh my God, he's going to try to sell me something now. After you get all the stuff, because the good stuff happens when you jump in with us. I'm going to give you a lot of good stuff here, but I want to let you know there's more. There's another opportunity. So you don't have to leave. You can listen and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should take that challenge. Maybe I should jump in with those guys and spend 10 days together with them and go get some listings. All right. Looks like I have a thumbs up. All right, awesome, cool, thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. All right, so let me. Today's about taking listings. All right, now it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter where you are right now. Whether you're here at the bottom and you're just getting started, you're somewhere in the middle where you're like you've taken some listings before, and you're like, you know what, I know I can do more. Or if you're, maybe you're like I was when I was running my team. We were bringing in 15 to 25 listings a month. Yeah, a month. 15, our best month, we did 27 listings. So whether you're there's going to be something in here that's going to benefit you. So I want to make sure, I want you to realize that this is for all levels. The reason it can be for all levels is because it is fundamental. Fundamental means it's for you. It's all about you. And it all starts with you. That's what you need to know. Everything starts with you. I was on a call this morning with somebody, and I'm not going to say who it was, but they said to me, "Hey, I'm going over to meet with a seller. It was as a practice appointment." I said, "No, man, we don't we don't go on practice appointments, brother. We go on appointments where we're going to show up and take the listing. Like the goal is to go get the business. We don't need practice appointments. We don't need, this is an at bat. Like, listen, maybe it is a practice appointment for you. I don't care. But what I'm saying is you got to get your mindset right. First off, your mindset needs to be strong. You need this. You need confidence. And if you don't have confidence, the customers aren't going to have confidence. If you don't show up confidence, they're not going to be into you. They're not even going to know why. They're going to be like, something doesn't seem right. I don't know what it is, but something with this agent just doesn't seem right. I don't know. And I promise you, I know. How do I know that? Because I've recruited over 200 people into a system. I've run teams for years. I had the top team in my market. I've had dozens of real estate agents come and go on my team. And it all starts with confidence. I can take somebody that has like almost clueless. I hate to say that, like myself in a lot of ways, like don't have a huge super education, right? I don't use a lot of big sophisticated words. Was not the smartest guy when I came into real estate, right? I was a mechanic. I went to school for auto tech, but man, when I showed up, I exuded confidence, and I swear to God, I got listings. Sorry, I mean, swear to, I'm a man of God, but I don't want to say. I'm just telling you, I took listings because I help other people feel more confident because I was confident. So when you're confident, okay, I know you're like, well, I'm here for strategy, David. This is right there. I don't need to know about okay, got it. That's half the problem right there. Like you don't put any real emphasis on the fact that you got to show up and you have to come off as confident. There has to be a certain energy there, right? The people have to connect you. They have to feel it. There's that level there where I think a lot of us don't spend enough time on. So that's why I always like to start here. It always starts with you, my friend, you. And how do you get confidence? You have to be clear on your product. You have to be clear on the problem that it solves for people. Okay. You have to be clear on why they should hire you. All right. So how to get sold on you is your knowledge, like what you bring to the table, what you know. We're talking about to real estate agents right now. So you should know all the houses in your area. You should know the average days on market. You should know the list price to sold price. You should know absorption rate. You should know all this stuff about your area. That creates more confidence for you. And it helps the other person get sold on you. You should be confident in your company. You know how many realtors I've sat down with over the years that are like, yeah, I'm at this company, but it's okay. No, you don't. If you show up like that, the sellers are going to feel that. Be at the freaking company that you think is the best. I don't care what company you're at. Okay. I was a recruiter for 2 years for Keller Williams. We recruited over 200 agents into our office. I met with every company. Okay. I don't care. And like, I pretty much know the models, and not everybody is the best fit for my company or the company I was at. And I know that. That's not what's important. What's important is whatever company you are at, You need to believe it's the best company. Okay. I may not believe it's the best company, but you need to believe it's the best company. That's what I'm talking about. You need to have products. Okay. You need to have different things. You don't just show up and be the one trick pony. Yeah. Hey, I charge X% and that's it. Well, you're losing a lot of deals that way. You need to have different offers. Okay. You need to have different offers. Right now, we have 5 different ways to work with sellers right now. 5 different ways to work with sellers. When we show up like that, they don't have to go anywhere else. They're like, okay, tell me about those 5 ways. Great. Now we just figure out which way works best for them. All right. Experience. Share your experience. Now, let's just say you, like me, when I got into real estate 21 years ago, I didn't have experience selling real estate, but I had a lot of experience selling advertising before that. I had a lot of experience on the phones. I had experience. So I used that experience. I explained to the sellers that this is what I'm bringing to the table. And I used my office experience, and I used my team experience. There was this guy, Miles, in my office. This guy was an animal. He was selling, I don't know, he was selling a lot of houses. I remember back in the day, I was looking up to him. He was selling, I don't know, 100, 150 houses a year. I just started, and man, I just said, oh gosh, I'm in the office with this guy, Miles. He's doing everything. I'm part of his office. I'm part of that team. I'm with those guys. I used him. Okay. In certain areas. Skill set. What skill sets do you have? Get sold on your skill sets. Like, what are you really good at? Yeah. What are you really good at? Like, what do you bring to the table? Like, I believe I'm a great negotiator. I'm impatient. I ask for what I want. I'm sorry, I'm impatient. I am impatient, but when it comes to negotiations, I'm very patient. Very, very patient. Okay, when it comes to negotiations, I ask for what we want. I'm confident. I show up, right? I door knock. I do all the things that a lot of people aren't willing to do. And I tell sellers that, when we list your house, I'm not just going to wait for people to call. I'm going out there. I'm going to find people and I'm going to call them myself. I'm going to call the other agents that have fits, buyers that have fits. I'm going to go out over and above, right? Those are some of the things I bring to the table because I have that past experience on phones. Remember I said in the beginning, I have 35 years outbound. I want you to understand there's a big difference between an outbound sales trainer and a sales trainer and a trainer. Outbound. Okay. Now, if you get good at outbound, trust me, you're going to be phenomenal at inbound. So you don't have to worry about that. When you get really, really good at outbound, my goodness, you'll be phenomenal at the inbound. So, all right. So those are some things that are going to help you get sold on you with confidence. Now, here's 6 types. And see, I even gave you a bonus today, right? Because it said 5 strategies. We're giving you 6. For sale by owner. That's where I started. I shared my story already with the team, going from terrible scripts, aggressive. When are you going to hire the right agent for the job? Johnny, when are you going to hire the right agent for the job to sell your house? Right? To asking great questions. Hey, I saw you have a house for sale by owner in my coverage area. Just curious. You open using a real estate agent? Right? What would have to happen? Do you have a plan B? What? I get it. You're 30. You're going to go, you do it yourself. I understand 100%. Is there a plan? If it doesn't sell in 30 days, would you be open then? So what am I doing? I'm connecting. I'm not making people wrong. I'm asking questions. Expired. Another great form of home seller. Somebody that was on the market. The property did not sell. A lot of times they are discouraged and frustrated. So you need to know how to approach expireds. We teach real estate agents how to approach FSBOs and how to approach expireds. You know how when I know somebody doesn't really know what they're talking about when it comes to training and teaching? Is they group FSBOs and expireds together as one. Next time you hear that, you'll know. They don't really understand because they're not one. FSBOs and expireds are not, like, you don't just say, I call FSBOs and expireds. I'm going to call no. FSBOs are completely different. They don't want to use a real estate agent because they think they're trying to save the commission. They think that if I sell it myself, I'm going to save money, or I'm going to, they don't think about making more money. They usually think about saving money. But an expired, totally different. Expired, totally different. They think they're discouraged a lot of times. They're like, oh my gosh, it didn't sell. We give up. We can't sell our home. Those are two completely different ways to approach people, different conversations. That's what I'm talking about. Sphere of influence, critical. Sphere of influence, guys. Gosh. And I'll tell you, if my best year, we closed 120 transactions. Man, if someone would have taught me 10 years earlier to focus on sphere of influence, I would have easily doubled that. I mean, we did 120 transactions on pretty much, not at the end. That's not true. We were still working our database by that time, but we were doing 50, 60 transactions a year without even any, just all outbound. FSBOs, expireds. I mean, so yeah, a sphere of influence, huge. Build that database. Circle calls. That's when you're going into a neighborhood. Going into a neighborhood and you're becoming, I like to call it the mayor of the neighborhood. The mayor. Like you go in there and you show up, you're door knocking, you're sending stuff, you're sending postcards, handwritten letters, doing client appreciation events, you're doing stuff, you're showing up, you're running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads. So they go on TV, they see you. They go in their mailbox, they see you. They go to their phone, they see a voicemail from you. Right? They think about selling real estate. Who they're going to call? You. That's how you do it. Circle calls. It's not just calls. It's circle prospecting. All right. Allied Resources. These are the partners now. These are the people that you can partner up with. All right. And create opportunities. These are the best of the best. And then for rent by owners is another great opportunity. All right. So those are the 6 types that we focus on. Right. When I talk about getting listings, we have a challenge coming up. We start Monday the 15th. Okay. We're going to spend 10 days on these 6 right here. These 6. We're going to give you all the strategies for each one, how to go out there and take listings from these 6. We're going to spend 10 days together. All right. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in a few minutes, how to join us on that. All right. So the key, what we're looking for here is certainty. Certainty. Now, people, just like I said earlier, when people don't sense you as having confidence, they're not going to know why, but they're just not going to feel comfortable moving forward with you. So how do you create certainty is through results, through consistency, through feedback, right? Through being in a community that's done what you want to do, that can give you the right ways to do things. That's how you create certainty. We have to figure out how to get to certainty, because that's going to be the key. You guys know who this guy is, right? Everybody know who that is? Yeah, drop it in the chat. Michael Phelps. Yeah. Practice. Like for y'all that know Michael's story, what he'll tell you is the amount of practice that guy put in, unbelievable. Like the amount of time he spent in the pool. How much time do you spend on your craft? We had an hour call this morning where we just did role play. People showed up and role played it, and some of them were very difficult on each other, by the way. But I'll tell you what, those guys left and they were in a better spot. When they left. Yeah, they left feeling like, okay, wow, that was tough. But you know what? I'm better at this now. I'm better at this because of it. Because of that. All right. So practice is one of those things. Communication, man, everything is about communication, guys. Everything. I learned so much about, just different levels. I used to be like, when I was younger, I've always, like, if you know the DISC assessment, I'm a high D on the DISC. What does a high D do? Is they just show up. They just show up direct to the point, focused, moving. I'm in a rush. I'm busy. I don't have time. Well, you know what you're doing is you're leaving a wake behind you. And because of it, a lot of people, you're not connecting. You're not connecting with people. You're not communicating with people the right way. When you act like that. So I learned over the years, like, yeah, I'm doing good business, but man, I could do more. There's people that think I'm a jerk. I'm not even a jerk. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just busy, right? I'm focused. But it's all about communication, right? Do you pause? Do you stop? Do you pause? Do you give somebody a smile? It's just all little details like that, right? What are you saying? Go back to the person this morning that when I said, he told me he's going on a practice appointment. Don't go on practice appointments. If you're going to go on an appointment, then go on an appointment to get the business. So communication's key. And saying the right things, the right way, the right time. Hey, let me give you an example of that. Right. So let's just say I'm gonna share something with you. I'm gonna say it just 5 different ways. All right. So if I said to you, I didn't say he cheated in golf, right? Like it's just a statement. I didn't say that, right? Or I could say, I didn't say he cheated in golf, right? So it's like I didn't say it, right? Someone else may say it. I didn't say it, right? Or say I didn't say he cheated in golf, right? Like so. I mean, I didn't say it. I mean, I might have implied it, but I didn't say it, right? Don't say it. I didn't say he cheated in golf, right? No, that was someone else. That wasn't him. That was someone else that cheated in golf, right? So you see that? See where I'm going? I didn't say he cheated, right, in golf. No, he just kicked the ball a little bit, right? Right. He didn't, and he just wasn't technically cheating, just fudging the score a little bit, right? I didn't say he cheated in golf. No, he cheated on his taxes. Now, do you see how I just used the same sentence 6 times with just a little bit of a different inflection on a different word, which changed the whole meaning of the sentence? You see how that works? That's why communication is so important. Communication is critical. All right. So we need to figure out our communication. And that's why the practice is so important. Now, the other thing you're going to want to know about is objections, right? Like there's only really 5 different types of objections. So this is where it all comes together. You practice your communication for your objections when you're getting objections, right? I already gave you this, the sellers, right? You already know. These are the sellers right here. These are the 6 types: FSBO, expired, sphere of influence, circle calls, allied resources, for rent by owner. All right. So then we practice, we communicate. Now we get ready for our objections. So we already know there's only 5. There's product, money, stall, time, and unspoken. By the way, I'm going to invite, if anybody wants to come on, you know what I'll do? Sam, can you drop the link? Drop the link for people that might want to join us, Sam, on drop it on YouTube and drop it on X. If you could, the link that people can then join us. And I'm happy to bring someone in and do a live role play. If anybody's interested, feel free. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me grab the link right now. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to drop it in the chat right here for anybody. Let's see. All right. Let me do this. Okay. Yeah. Sam got it. Great. Good job, Sam. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. So if anybody wants to join us, use that. You can also go on X. It's there as well. And you're welcome to join us. And I'd love to role play with you, right? And kind of show you what we do. So these are your 5 types: product, money, stall, time, unspoken. Man, the unspoken is a tough one. They're all tough, but the unspoken's like, because you got to get it out of them. You don't know. You're like, because they're not telling you. A lot of times they're not being truthful. A lot of times, like maybe they're trying to use you. Maybe they're planning on doing something else, but they have you coming over to give like a value or something. Like we do a pre-qualification process. Like we ask questions before we meet with people, so we know what we're going into. That's a game changer in itself, right there. But these are you got to master these 5. These are the 5 that have to be mastered. So here's how you do it. You number 1 is listen. I got to listen. I wasn't good at this before. I listen. So listen, right? Listen means I listen. I can take notes. I acknowledge. So okay, I got it. What else? Tell me more. Yes. Mm-hmm. called active listening. Appreciate that. Okay, good. What else? Taking notes, is that okay? Isolate. So now when somebody tells you, how do you isolate it? Isolate other than, okay, so got it. So the price is higher than you thought. Thank you for sharing that with me. Other than the price being higher than you thought, is there any other reason that you're not moving forward today? Beautiful, right? Well, no, that's it. Great. Now you got to validate. Well, so, okay, good. So if I can solve that, so you're telling me if I solve that price thing, that's it. You're ready to move forward. There's nothing else. Like we're gonna sign on the spot on the dot right now. Beautiful. There we go. Okay. Now you already know it's a price. And now if there's a different type of objection, if there's something else comes up, we got to determine what objection we're dealing with now. All right. We have to determine the type of objection. So somebody might say it's price, but it's not really price. Maybe, and the reason, right? Maybe they say, well, David, yeah, your commission's too high. But at the end of the day, it's not really the commission that's too high, right? It's the fact that they don't see our product as worth the amount of money we're asking for. Does that make sense? So we got to understand, we got to know, because just because somebody says it's the price doesn't mean it's like they don't have the money. So a great way to pull that out. Well, great. So when you say price, is it more money than you want to spend, or is it more money than you have to spend? Like you can't spend the money. Wow. Now you're getting some real answers out of them, right? Like you gotta figure these things out. Like we gotta know the answer to these. So when you get to your objections, you gotta know how to handle those objections. All right. There's only 5. So listen, acknowledge, isolate, validate, and then determine the type of objection. Then you have to realize it's time to close, right? You got to get to a place in your process where the only next logical step is going to be to close. Right? Like that is at the highest level. When I interviewed, see, this is my book right here. Share it with you. So this is my book. It's called The Sales Playbook. See that? We're in the process now of doing a rewrite here, but this is still one of the older versions. And I got to interview Gary Keller in here and one of the things that he shared is and here's my yellow book, by the way, the yellow book I told you about earlier. But when I interviewed Gary, one of the things he said is the closing should be the only next logical step. Like if you've done such a great job with your process, like your process has been so tight that when you ask, are you ready to put me to work? Have you seen enough to make a decision? Is there anything else that you need to hear before if we get started? Like when you ask that question, the only logical answer should be, no, we're good. Beautiful. Right? Or yes, we've heard enough. We're good. We're ready. We're awesome. Yes, I'm ready to put you to work. Right? Depends on how you frame the question. Obviously, there we go with the communication thing, right? Yeah. Have you heard enough information to make a decision? Have you seen enough information to make a decision? How do you feel? Right? There we go with communication again. How do you feel about moving forward? Depending on who you know, if you're talking to somebody that's a relationship based person, that's how you probably want to frame that question. All right. So the only next logical step, move forward. Now, in a perfect world, yes, everybody moves forward. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, right? So we have to ask great questions and listen. And sometimes the only logical step is not to move forward at this moment, because you as a professional have to be able to discern when it does and doesn't, and it makes sense to push the envelope a bit, right? Now you're gonna have some people say, "Oh, always push." Oh, yeah, and trust me, no, you probably won't find anybody more aggressive than me. But I also know that 80% of my business comes from follow up, so I'm okay with good follow up. And these are some follow up best practices right here, like this right here. These are the things that you need to understand. So as soon as I have a conversation with somebody or I leave, I schedule the next connection right away. It's already in my system. The next connection, the next whatever I'm doing. All right. If I leave, as soon as I leave a house, I send a message, text message, video text message. As soon as I leave, I'm just getting in my car. Hey, it was great to meet with you. Thank you again for the opportunity. What's going to happen next is listing will be on, whatever it is. If I didn't take the listing, hey, great to meet with you. Appreciate the opportunity. What's happened is next, I'm going to send you an email kind of summarizing what we talked about, and I'll follow up with you again tomorrow morning. That's it. Always add the person to your CRM, to your system, to your database. All right. Use a combination of emails, SMS, video, phone, hard mail, everything. Best practices, not just one. Do them all. All right. You want people to, like, when they think about your business, real estate, your industry, you want them to think about you first. And that's how you do that, by staying top of mind, staying in front of them. Plan 5 to 12 attempts. 5 to 12. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. 5 to 12. I've heard more. I've heard 8 to 17 now. Minimum 5 to 12. So if someone tells me, hey, I followed up with somebody 6 times, I'll be like, oh, you're halfway there. Keep going. You can't tell me they're a dead lead yet until you've got to 12, at least 12. All right. And then always go into a connection with an intention. So what I mean by that is be intentional. It's never, hey, yeah, it's me. Just following up. Yeah, just following up. I mean, how many times can you call someone and say, just following up? Sounds ridiculous, right? Yep, you're just following up again. Right, following up. No, you got to have an intention. Hey, the reason for my call is, okay, and by the way, I don't care about the pattern interrupts and all this other mumbo jumbo. Be authentic with people. You don't need to call people shuffling papers and all this. Listen, be intentional with people. Be authentic with people. You will get further with people. Okay, I promise you. Don't, because why do I know that? Because I've tried all the tactics and all the other fun, funky stuff. All right, people appreciate authenticity. All right. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, David, do you have, like, how do I get more, like, how do I learn this stuff? It's a great question. So we have our university, which is called the Real Estate Listings Club. All right. Now, Real Estate Listings Club, we have a membership of real estate agents around the country. However, I'm not even going to talk to you about Real Estate Listings Club right now because for 2 reasons. Number one is the next thing that I have going on that's probably more important right now than Real Estate Listings Club is our 8-day listings challenge. Okay, our 8-day listings challenge, which starts next week. And I'm sorry, it's actually 10 days because we extended it 2 days. That's right. The 8-day challenge we did last month. And we had such good feedback that, you know what people said? They're like, man, we just wished it was a couple of days, that we wished it was longer, David. So I said, you know what? I'm going to commit. I'm going to hunker down with you. The same people doing it again, paying again to do it. More time. So we created an opportunity right now for you today to join the listings challenge. 10 days with me. Okay. 8 of the days you're with me on a Zoom training, and then we're together in a group making calls on Zoom. All right. Everything there you see is but the reason I said don't worry about the Real Estate University right now is because if you join the challenge, you get a 14-day access to the Real Estate University included in the challenge, which I don't have to worry about it. So there's an opportunity right now. You scan that QR code, go to davidihill.com/challenge. My assistant Sam will drop the link in the chat for you. Now, I want to get you guys some Q&A. So I want to find out, I want to get you to some Q&A. But before I do that, I just want to share a quick story. So in 2017, I joined a group of CEOs. We're all running big real estate teams. And so we met in Burlington, Vermont. And at the first meeting we met, there were about 20 of us. The person that was running the event, this was a year-long mastermind. It was, at the time, wasn't, I mean, I thought it was a lot of money at the time, I guess. It was like $2,000 a month to join. And so the first meeting, it was a 3-day meeting. We all had to pick a health track. Like, here's the, because everything starts with health, right? Like, first you want to get everything else in your business right. You want to get your money right, get your health right? It starts with health. So the first meeting, they gave us a health track, and we had to pick between 3. There was yoga, HIIT, high intensity. I always struggle with that. High interval training, right? I'm missing a letter somewhere. High intensity interval training. There it is. I knew it was. And then the 4th was Ironman race. So Ironman race. Yeah, that's what I said. In my mind, yoga was like, yeah, I do that all the time. My wife's a yoga instructor. I don't need to do that. Ironman race sounds stupid. Like, that's what I thought. Like, are you ridiculous, bro? I don't have a bike. I don't even hardly know how to swim. That is dumb. So I picked the easy one, high intensity interval training. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's called HIIT, right? High intensity training. So by the 3rd day, he kept egging everybody on. You got to go up to the next level. You got to go up to the next level. So if you picked yoga, you would move to HIIT. If you picked HIIT, you'd move to Ironman. So on the last day, a bunch of us agreed to move to the next level. So there were like 3 or 4 of us that went from HIIT to Ironman. And I thought it was, and I was all excited. I went out, I bought I ended up buying like a $2,000 bike. Eventually I have like a $7,000 bike now, but that's another story. Because once you really get into it, then you got to get a nice bike, right? But I went out, I bought like a $2,000 bike. I got all these clothes, and like, if you ever do an Ironman race, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It is not a cheap sport by any means. But so I went out, I started getting stuff, and then I went to the YMCA pool, Ellington YMCA. And I remember I did my first swim. I did 1 lap, y'all. One. That's it. 1 lap from one side of the pool to the other, 25 meters. And I thought I was going to drown. I was like, I instantly started panicking. And I'm a math guy. You guys know I'm a math guy. So I did the math in my head, and I said, okay, I just did 1 lap, and I can hardly breathe. I feel like I'm going to drown. And in order to do this race, I would have to go back and forth 84 times. In my mind, it said impossible. Impossible. I left the pool. I went back. I went and I called my wife. I said, honey, I got to get out of this. And my wife's all encouraging. Oh my gosh, David, you can do anything you want. And I said, all right, I love you, hon. Hung up. Called the guy that signed me up for the race now. Not as nice as my wife. He says to me, stop being a B word and hire a swim coach. I said, what? They have swim coaches? And he said, yeah, hung up on me. Went to the front counter of YMCA. I hired, they connect me with Joel. Make a long story short, next day, Joel meets me at the pool. He watches me swim down a lap, catch my breath at the other end, breathe in, helps me swim back, gives me some directions, talks to me about hand movement, and gave me one of those floaty things. And anyway, he did this for like 45 minutes with me. And then he said, okay, I want you to practice for the next 2 days. I want you to be back here on Thursday. 3 days later. So Thursday comes, I jump in the pool. He shows up. I had practiced for 2 days, 3, I'm all feeling proud. So, and me, I'm just swimming from one end to the other, stop, swim back. So I swim back down to the other end, and I'm about to grab the side, and he says, okay, good job, go back. And I was like, go back? He's like, yeah, go back to the other end. So I said, okay. So I turn around, and I'm dragging myself back, and I'm like, and I'm all excited. I'm about to get to the other end of the pool. And now I was like, oh gosh, I just went all the way from one end back to the other end without stopping. And I'm about to grab it. And he says, go back again to the other end. I says, what? He says, go back to the other end. And I'm like, I don't know. He said, go back. You can do it. He's like, you can do it. So I turn around and I start dragging myself back now. And now it's, it's getting really tough. Now I'm drinking pool water. My body's under, it was not pretty. But I see the edge of the pool, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to actually make it. I would have done 3 laps, and I'm dragging myself, and it's like, oh, ah. And I'm just about to grab the end of the pool, and there he is standing there. And he says, go back. And I said, what? He says, go back. You can do it. I said, no, I know. He said, go back. And he yelled as loud as he could. And like literally, and almost like fear, I turned around and I just started dragging myself back. And it was the worst swim. And I was drinking pool water at this point. Like the only thing I was doing was not drowning, like somehow. And then I was literally thinking, oh my God, I may drown. Like this might be the end for me. And then I realized that I wasn't even in the deep end of the pool anymore. And then I got a little confidence and I made it back to the other end. And when I caught my breath, 3 minutes later, he said, congratulations, man. You just did 4 laps. Now, here's the thing about this story is I told you 3 days earlier, I showed up at that pool. I did 1 lap. And I called my wife and I said, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm going to quit. 84 laps, impossible. 3 days later, I just did 4 laps without, and yeah, they weren't pretty laps. They weren't pretty, but that don't matter. I did 4 laps without stopping. And you know what? With Joel's instruction, a month later, I was able to do 16 laps, guys. 16 without stopping with Joel's instruction and Joel's coaching me on that. And eventually Joel and I were done. And then I hired Courtney, who became my triathlon coach, who I used on my second as well. And she helped me with everything, with the biking, the run, the whole deal. But the reason I like to share this story is 2 things. Number one is, first off, I was ready to quit after the 1 lap, but Joel showed up and pushed me. Okay. First off, Adam pushed me. But then here's the thing that really clicked after the fact that I really clicked. This didn't click until not years later, but months later, is I bet you guys, I could have done those 4 laps. Like, see, I always say Joel pushed me to do the 4 laps, which he did, but I'd be willing to bet I could have done those 4 laps the first time I was in the pool. I bet you I could have done it, but I was scared and I had nobody pushing me to do it. Bet you I could have done it. And that's the difference. That's the difference between having somebody by your side. Yeah, we all know what to do. I hear that all the time. Oh, yeah, David, I know what to do. Listen, then why aren't you doing it, right? Why aren't you doing it? If you know what to do, why'd you close 5 houses last year, right? Or 10? So I don't want to hear it anymore. You need, just like me, you need someone in your life that's going to push you, that's going to encourage you, it's going to show you what to do, the right thing. I'm going to wrap with this. There's 4 things. There's 4 A's. Number 1 is your attitude. Your attitude needs to be right. Number 2 is going to be your approach. Your approach. You got to have the right attitude. And we talked about that in confidence. You got to have the right approach. Okay. The 3rd one is going to be your activity, your action. Are you taking the right actions? And then the 4th one is accountability. Accountability. And all 4 of those. And that, guys, that's how I got to this. That's me. That's me. Lake Placid. Right? That's me at Lake Placid, 2018. Crossing that finish line. 5 hours. 5 hours, y'all. 5 hours and I think it was like 5 hours and 50 minutes. And then that's me in Jones Beach. That was 5 hours and like 12 minutes. I literally took almost 40 minutes off my race, the next one in 2000. Why? Because I didn't give up. Why? Because somebody was holding me accountable. Why? Because I had a coach that was pushing me. And by the way, you see that shirt right there on the Jones Beach, the GC. We raised $10,000 for kids' cancer. All that happened because somebody wouldn't give up on me in that pool. So I don't want to give up on you. So right now, here's your opportunity. Join us next week. It's nothing. $297 is peanuts. Think about if you take 1 listing, right? 1. Most real estate agents make $5,000 for a listing after everything. 1 listing is over a 10x return on your investment. The thing that you don't think about all the time is the fact that you're going to have these tools for the rest of your life. Once you learn something, it's a skill you'll have for the rest of your life. All right. The last challenge. I know we had 4 listings we're taking during the challenge. We had 18 people, and everybody built a massive pipeline, and I don't know how many, I've lost track of how many listings have been taken after the challenge as a result of the pipeline in the follow-up they scheduled in the challenge. It's exactly what we're going to do with you right now. So here's an opportunity. Take advantage of it. The reality is it starts Monday, so you got a couple more days. Now, do I have any questions? If anybody has any questions, feel free in the chat. Drop in a question or raise your hand. If anybody wants to come up, raise your hand. We'll bring you up. I'm even happy to do some role play. So as I said earlier, I love to start with this and I like to end with this. When you help enough people get what they want, you can have whatever it is that you want. Help enough people get what they want, you can have whatever it is that you want. I believe that. I know that's true. So next step for you, listen, for me, I had to hire Joel. I had to have some faith. Okay. I had to put in the work, but that was what got me to that finish line. All right. You, same thing. Use me as the person that's going to help you create the best spring you've ever had. Okay. Create an opportunity where agents in your office are going to be coming up to you and saying, Johnny, how are you getting all these listings when nobody's doing anything? Sam, how are you getting all these listings? Renee, how are you getting the, like, what are you doing? Christy, what, like, holy cow. They're gonna be asking you that. You're gonna be at the beach having a great summer because you have closings. Imagine that. Imagine having enough closings where you can go take your whole family on vacation and travel without even having to think twice of it. Why? Because you have closings. That's what we're going to create for you. So that the beginning of that is this challenge. So don't let fear, uncertainty get in the way of you taking it to the next level. So let me see. Do I have any questions? Let me see. Questions. I do not. We don't have any questions. So that said, last opportunity for questions, or if anybody wants a role play. All right. Well, listen, this right now, you can take advantage of this. It starts Monday, the 18th. Our first call is going to be 12 Eastern time. Use that QR code. Go to davidihill.com/challenge. Get signed up. Take advantage of it. It's only $297. It's a ridiculously low offer. You're actually getting me. I'm on every day. 8 of the days you'll get an hour training with me. Plus I'm on with the calls in the afternoon. I mean, it's a game changer for you. That's all I can tell you. It's a game changer. So any uncertainty, lose it. And here's what I'll wrap with this. Your clients and customers will buy the same way you do. So if you put everything off and you're scared and you can't put, then how can you expect people to invest? How do you expect people to invest in you? If you don't invest in yourself, how do you expect people to invest in you? You can't. They're not going to. Right? If you're the type of person that always needs to think about something, when someone says to you, hey, I need to think about it, you're not going to be able to overcome that objection. Why? Because you always need to think about it. We talk about the psychology behind sales too. That's our university, Real Estate Listings Club. So you get 14 days access to our club as well. But we have some powerful conversations, a game changer for you. $297 will change your life, my friend. Give you the best spring you've ever had, ever, as a real estate agent. It all starts right here, Monday, with us in the challenge. Get down there. Join now. Join while you still can, by the way, because there's not that many seats left. I know we're capping out at 30, so take advantage of it. We'll see you in the challenge. You rock. davidihill.com/challenge.